Hello, welcome to another episode with Economics with Dr. Rajapathirana. We discussed about many topics, but the previous few conversation was about the economists who have contributed greatly for the betterment of human life, human beings in the 21st century. Dr. Rajapathirana, we have been discussing about the economists who have contributed greatly in the 21st century.
Right.
And today we are going to discuss another good friend of yours and can I say a mentor and a teacher?
Mentor and teacher both, yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
So we are going to discuss about Professor
And Krueger.
Anne Krueger.
Yeah.
So what is unique about Anne Krueger?
Very tough person.
Tough person.
Yeah.
What do you mean by tough in what sense?
Yeah, she expects very high standards from you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And she is not going to accept anything less than that. Yeah.
Right.
But she is also the kindest person I know.
And how did you meet her first? And tell us about her.
Yeah, first I was at a university. I shouldn't put the names. And the faculty said, why don't you go somewhere else?
Right.
Actually say to a better university than where I was. They are very kind, nice people. So that's how I went to Minnesota. But I had a Fulbright scholarship. So they had an orientation program in Minnesota. Now see how I made the choice. So, and I like the place. Most of the people around are from the Northern Europe, very fine people. So then I also realized later that Minnesota has a very good reputation.
Just for people who do not know about Minnesota, it's a very cold place.
It's a very cold place, but when you are young, you don't feel it. People are very nice and the university is very good, first-rate university.
So that's where you first met Anne?
Yeah.
As your lecturer, as your professor?
Yeah. And all the people like Anne go from place to place. She has been teaching at MIT, all the places. And it's all luck that she came back to Minnesota. That's her original place, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did she teach?
She taught macroeconomics.
Right.
And people are very scared of her, actually.
Right. Because she's a very tough character.
Very tough, very tough.
Okay. So you were her student.
I was one of the many students, yeah. But when it came to thesis writing, I was a student.
Right.
Yeah. And
so she directly supervised you on your thesis, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
When you say supervise, there's no supervision.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So you can ask her questions, which I did ask sometimes, and you can save yourself 3 months of work by asking her one question. Yeah, so very precise and very good. And she's a leading economist in the world, one of the leading economists. And so people who work with me, my friends also, we liked her very much.
And then how, from being a mentor and from University of Minnesota, how I know she was also the chief economist at the World Bank.
Yeah, chief economist at the World Bank when I was already there.
Exactly. So how did that that connection took place?
Yeah, she just asked me, Sharat, you are going to work with me, right? I said, yes.
You didn't have a
choice, yeah. And some people said, I had told this to her, so some people said, don't work with your old professor, she'll treat you like your student again. I said, no. So I said, I never felt like that, yeah.
And so you authored the famous report that was under Anne's guidance, or how does it work?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I don't know when you say very famous, but it's the World Development Report.
World Development Report.
That's given to somebody, there are about maybe 150 economists there, if not more. And so some reason I got it. And so, and I told her, you can't ask me whom to choose. No, that will not happen. Yeah.
Right.
So we found the best people and we went outside also. You are given the freedom with a good backup money
Mm-hmm.
to hire people from anywhere you like. Yeah. So it's a very open, nice system. Yeah.
Right, right. Tell us also things that you have to speak about and things that we do not know, and why do you think on what sectors that she contributed mainly to the
I
this.
think if it's two or three things, international trade clearly, she and Jagdish Bhagwati changed the way we look at international trade completely in the work they did in the 1970s. We changed the way we look at international trade.
Can you explain, Dr. Rajapathirana, on which way, like before Anne's research came out,
Yeah.
what was the thinking and how actually it changed with
Yeah, actually, what we
Am I asking you like a
no,
question?
interesting question, very interesting question, because what we are doing in Sri Lanka was like what if before they were there.
Right. Now what we are doing is
Now we are looking how to promote export, how to do this, how to do that. But the point is that what Jagdish and Anne did was to do it as everything had to be looked as a package. And so when you're promoting, for example, trade, that is not sufficient unless you say that there are, there are different ways of dealing with the situation, particularly areas that one want to work on. For example, if you are doing in today's world, if you are doing international trade, promoting export, we'll start with imports. Because, since the last 50 years or so, there have been great increase in countries getting together and producing for each other. And so there is a sort of what we call, it's sort of, you have to look at worldwide rather than a particular area.
interesting.
Yeah.
And so what you say is now what Sri Lanka doing now is what what the world was doing before Anne's
Anne and Jagdish,
research.
Yeah.
And interestingly, when I read about her profile, this word rent seeking was introduced by her in one of her papers.
Yeah. Actually, it's a very interesting paper. She didn't know this. I had to tell her that.
Right.
That it is one of the best papers written in the last 100 years. They chose 20 papers. Hers is there.
This is by whom? American
Economic Association. Yeah, American Economic Association. So she didn't realize that she was in that group. I said, that you are in this very select category. Yeah, really, I didn't know. Yeah. So they are interested in research and things, not looking at their, they don't have to worry about their CVs and things like that. So I reminded her, you were chosen for the 100 years or the time taken by this publication. The 20 were, and hers was one of them. And that is the paper that you talked about, political economy of rent seeking. Yeah.
Interesting. So, Dr. Rajapathirana, so I intervened. So I asked about how that economic landscape changed with Anne's research. So you basically mentioned what Sri Lanka was doing way before what Anne's
research. So we are trying to do commodity by commodity. That is wrong.
Okay.
You have to look at, in particular today, there is greater competition than, say, 50 years ago. Mm-hmm. I give you an example, because when I was doing the report, I asked the American leading motor car companies, where did we buy your parts? From where did we? They said there were 46 countries.
Right.
Now it is maybe close to 150. So there's great competition now, and therefore you must accommodate yourself for the competition by having a wide-gauged approach to economic policy, say trade policy in this case.
Also, Dr. Rajapathirana, how was he like as a leader? Because running the World Bank research team is by any means not an easy task, because the context are different, especially when you do research. Even we as researchers finding it difficult from moving from one topic to another because the context and everything is
Yeah.
very different.
Yeah.
So how was she managing, and what was the great learnings that our audience can learn,
Yeah.
especially the students, the academics?
Yeah. There are exactly 100 economists there working under her.
Right.
And we had done various things. I had the great advantage of being a student. I knew what she was looking for, and we are given great independence. Select anything that you want to do, and so she won't impose it on you. So she said, so you select the thesis topic yourself. You ask her, can we do this? And many of us, including myself, the first one must say, no, it's not on.
Right.
Very clear. She's very clear about the position. There's no this way, that way. Yes or no, and then and gives a very good reason why you should not be doing it, or give a very good reason why you should pursue it. Very easy to work with her. Very tough.
Very tough.
Yeah.
What do you mean by tough? Like you said that she expects very high standards.
Very high standard.
Like what does it mean? Like standards in the sense whether it's in writing or the research or like on the timelines or on everything.
Research.
Research.
Yeah. I mean, some of them like Anne and others who are in the leading economists in the world at that time. Their emphasis on research. Can you write something that has never been written before? What is the content of it? How is it going to be looked at by people? People who are interested in those fields, and so lot of things like that. I got fortunate that I was made the head of the practicing part of the operation under her. So I was given resources to have a team, a group that I chose to do practical use of the research that we had produced. Right. So it was very interesting work to do that, yeah.
Also, Dr. Rajapathirana, tell us more things that probably I may not know, a lot of things that you know about Anne. So I only captured what I could read.
One of the things that is very clear to me, but I found out that when she came there, everybody wanted to join.
Right.
Yeah, so we get all these, I in fact wrote the list the other day. Leading economists of the day were there.
Right.
Ian Little, Max Gordon, Richard Cooper, all these people come because they want to work with her. Right. And therefore you work with us also.
Right.
So she didn't stop there. She said, well, if you want to work with us, come work with us. And so I was given one assignment to one area. Somebody else was given another assignment. And we wrote, it is what she called a comparative analysis of economics. We are given different areas, or we can take different areas and say, I want to do this. And so this is freedom to listen. Earlier, in the earlier system, the people wrote what they wanted to write, right, and they just published in the local inside the bank paper and forgot about it, right, and said no way. Right. All the papers you write must be of such a standard to be publishable in a leading journal. That is my test. Right. So that's a very tough test, but she'll help you to get there. I was asked, so what do you think should be done? Mm-hmm. Because I have been there 7 years before she came and she didn't know the institution. Right. And they were telling them various people who had written these papers that were not published, right, probably not publishable. They were doing these great things and all that. I put up my hand and said, I really don't think that is really the case. Because the case is that when I was working on Indonesia and other places, I had to deal with the people in the research department. They were really very offhanded. We don't want to deal with this country economics type of thing, right? So I said, that's not real. This is not really working. And I said, I made a mistake by coming here if that is what we are going to do. Right. So she said, no, that's not going to happen here. And so then they raised the standard. And people who were really didn't understand what she wanted to do really came to understand it. that this is what we want to do. And we did it, and actually we serve the countries. So I worked on Indonesia, for example. I knew about their resources, how they have used it before, what are the chances that they do. The price of oil, for example, gasoline, went from $2.15 to something like $12.30, something like that. A huge increase in resources, but it was managing it was a problem. So we said, this is the way. Although you have got all these resources now, managing is going to be difficult because inflation immediately goes on. So you have to develop a system how to absorb that increase.
Dr. Rajapathirana, also, I think after she worked at the World Bank, then she was lecturing at Stanford, and there was a special college.
Yeah, a special faculty created for her.
Okay, that shows the caliber of.
Yeah, they created for her. People like to work with her. Although it's very tough because you get a very clear answer to questions and helpful, always very helpful.
Right.
Yeah, but you can't ask unnecessary questions. She immediately say, "Don't waste my time." You know, so very, very, very clever, very fine, very smart, and very kind. Yeah, excellent person to have. So all of us are students. Even today, when I want to do something, I sit down. Within a few minutes, I get a reply.
She's now in her 90s.
Yeah, she is 91.
91.
She wrote a letter recently and said, I'm okay for 91. I don't feel about 91. 91 is a number, I don't, yeah. And she's driving and when I go there, sometimes she don't worry, I come and pick you up.
Yeah. So Dr. Rajapathirana, now being an academic and also, now there's like, what do you think, what made Anne, like, she has started, from little that I read, she has studied at University of Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And
she did an undergraduate in another university.
Yeah. So what is like, why she, what were the ingredients that made her, in your observation and in your analysis?
Yeah, I think first of all, she had a fantastic brain, ability to understand something very clearly and pursuing something. If she starts on something, she'll pursue it to its end and say, no, either this will work or this will not work. And then she is very interested in the countries. Mm-hmm. She had done a lot of work in many countries. She has very good friends in India. All of them, she knows all of them. And so she works with them. And so she knows that academics there. Also common people, she talks to them and finds out what they feel about the economy and things like that. Lot of people consult her even today. I mean, she will say, "Can you help us think through this?" And she'll do it immediately. Very fine person.
Excellent. How she is as a normal person, human being, except for her economics?
Yeah, she is a very normal human being. Actually, you won't know unless somebody introduced her. You won't know who she is because she is very much open and friendly with everybody. She knows the wives of all her students also. Yeah.
Right.
Those more men, unfortunately, than women. Lot of maybe ratio of 5-1 or something like that. Right. But she made a point. She came to know all the wives and so very friendly person, very tough and friendly and kind. Yeah.
Anything did I miss, Dr. Rajapathirana, to question about your good friend Anne? Anything that we missed out?
Anne does not take the status quo. So she worked in these 3 leading places: World Bank, IMF, and Stanford. Stanford University. They created the faculty for her. She does not accept that is there as the given.
Right.
She says, why is it being done like this way? We can do it the other way. And so she is very, very careful to get the best option out of all those things. Very clear and thought about it. And she speaks very fast. One of the things I had to learn. She's very fast. She'll be calling me from China. So, Sarat, da, 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 da. I said, and sorry, I missed the first part. Okay, sorry. And they say, so very fast talking.
Right.
And when she speaks, it's like we are reading a chapter of a book in the sense.
Right.
Yeah, it's very clear and logical and things like that. Yeah.
And she was also, as you very correctly mentioned, the first deputy managing director of the IMF.
Yeah, first time a woman got that job.
Right.
Same thing in the World Bank.
Bank as well.
Yes, same. Yeah, no. So
Any major changes she did at the IMF? You mentioned how she changed things at the World Bank.
yeah,
Anything that did you also work at the IMF with?
no.
No.
She said she wanted to come and see her office when she was she's across the street.
Right.
And office. Unfortunately, they won't let you let me hire you. You are not a part of the. I said, I know that. That's okay. No problem. And so she works with people. People who work with her really like her.
Right.
Because very clear, very helpful, and very nice to work with her. I mean, we all miss her to get a chance to talk to her. We all keep in touch with her.
Excellent. My final question, Dr. Rajapathirana, any final learnings from her for our young researchers? What if you mentioned about she's a tough character, she's very good at research and perceives things till the end.
I didn't say rough, tough.
Tough, sorry.
Yeah.
Tough.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Tough character.
Yeah.
But she perceives things and get it to the
If
end.
she knows that you put your heart into the work and you did it, then she is open to you. But if you were just kidding there and not really serious about it, she has no time. She says, I'm sorry.
So she has,
As an economist, she has worldwide influence on economics and different parts of economics. For example, she had done work on agriculture in developing countries
right.
with a group of people, although her main thing has been international trade. And also when the people do analysis, they look like very carefully and say, no, this is not going to work. And that is turned out to be most of the time correct.
Right.
Because she had thought through it and come to that conclusion. And I say that one of the biggest things that she attracted all these people to come and work in the world, help in the World Bank. This list of, I have the list, Ian Little, Max Gordon, Richard Cooper, all these.
All the best brains, she was managed to attract them. So that's why the products and what she did was...
Deepak Lal, all came and worked with her. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So that's how I think she made...
And also she is very good. She has great respect for those countries, poor countries.
Right.
A huge respect. She gives them all a great prominence. She look into it something and say, go and talk to them and say, I will try this will work and that will not work. And she's very helpful to poor countries.
Got it. Also, Dr. Rajapathirana, from the notes that when I read about her, she has also been a hard critic about the sugar cartel in the US.
Yeah.
Have you come across whether she's commenting about it, not only on the academic papers? Any thoughts about it? If I may ask?
She does not like being a great trade person. She doesn't want any type of interference of the government in production. Why should the government be involved? Why should the government put the price of sugar? Ridiculous.
Yeah. And the subsidies and...
Subsidies, no. That actually, because at the end of the day, that we hurt the people, not help them. To price control. I mean, as we have been, advocate has been talking about it long before.
Yeah.
I mean, in more than recent things in the newspaper.
Correct.
And so she knows the consequences of it. And so she's very strong on those issues and tell to the face, you cannot do it. I know one Sri Lankan group went to meet her.
Is it?
And invited me to come. I said, no, I had no business to go there. I'm not representing Sri Lanka. When I see her, she with your group, she'd say, what is this guy doing here? So I didn't want to go.
I wanted to ask you, so did she work at any point for Sri Lanka? I mean, have we taken any consultant?
No, she will never. No, no.
She would never.
No, she would never, and nobody would ask. They have to ask either. No, she helps. She'll help. So one of the people who went there want to explain some economics to her, unfortunately.
Right.
So he has said, Mr. something, I don't understand what you're saying. So somebody reported to me what exactly took place. Yeah, he said, I really, forgive me, I don't understand what you're saying. Can you state it clearly so we can understand? And he couldn't do it.
Right.
So very honest, straightforward. He said that is something, he said something that she knows better than most people. And so she said, I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're saying.
So when it comes to the seniority in the sense like with your friends like Ian Little, Deepak Lal, so she is the most senior or
actually you can't say most senior.
Most senior.
Actually, if I say that he is the best economist who has worked directly with countries.
Right.
And been in charge of the World Bank, IMF, all those places. Not a single person had all that type of ability.
Right.
Yeah, and so she works very fast, and I mean, I learned to work with her because she works very fast. She will say, Sarah, what we did over the weekend. She says there's a lot of paper that come for her. She'll get a copy made, then give it to me, and say we'll talk about it Monday morning. So I did it Monday morning, and I had to argue with her, and she argues. And sometimes she no, I think I am wrong here. Sorry, I am wrong. And she's very open and very always prepared to give and take of discussion.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Rajapathirana, for sharing your memory and the lessons with your work experience working with one of the best economics.
Yeah, all luck. That is do with luck.
All luck.
All luck, yeah.
Thank you very much. We are looking forward to seeing you with another episode.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that, yeah.